Alrighty, everybody, welcome back once again to Elite Raceway Season 6. We are here with our Gnosis Division 1 group. We just finished kicking it off with our Tier 2 group about 2 hours ago. And yeah, we're looking forward to this race. Thanksgiving is officially done, so that means every driver here has survived, I think, the most intense endurance race of all, which is spending a day, or in my case, a 4-day weekend with familia. Uh, so if they can handle that, then they can certainly handle Singapore. But anyways, we do have a solid grid tonight. Unfortunately, some drivers are missing tonight. We have Dismal, our new Papaya driver, who I do want to give him a little brief shout out. Hope he feels better. Unfortunately, wasn't able to join in today. Feeling a little bit under the weather. But um, but yeah, hopefully we do see him on the next race as he is promoted to the McLaren team now. But 17 drivers today, still a great turnout. Uh, does look like the flu is going around because unfortunately you'll have to settle with just me tonight in the comms booth. Uh, our division admin, Turtle Commander 7, not feeling well either. So, yeah, wishing him and everyone else a speedy recovery. But it is Singapore, and we are looking forward to this race. And for those that are actually here today on the track, we do want to give them a little bit of an appreciation before we go underway. I did want to mention uh, or take a moment to recognize one of our drivers who is racing under emotional circumstances, I think. Out of respect, I don't want to be so public about it regarding who and what. Uh, I think though they did speak out publicly on the Discord chat. But um, yeah, we're always happy to have them here. They've chosen to be here on the track with us tonight, honoring loved ones and showing, yeah, incredible strength and dedication. As the owner of the league, I've been told both privately and publicly many things about our ERA members from our ERA members. Uh, so yeah, I think moments like those, we recognize that the league is a community, and yeah, we try to keep everything friendly, respectful, supportive every race night. And of course, that doesn't mean we have our hot-headed moments here and there, but at the end of the day, our goal is to make sure everyone comes back together as a community. But yeah, anyways, we do have quite an interesting group today. We did have I think a little bit of an understatement, quite a chaotic and dramatic race in Belgium. uh, was definitely a really interesting race. We did see a little ups and downs for some drivers. PO2, our first driver to cross the grid or cross the line, puts in a 130.3. Uh, I did want to mention as we spectate here on board with MK7 Hitch. MK7 Hitch, who had an amazing performance last week, or sorry, 2 weeks ago on our last race week, um, overcame a 10-second penalty and used the safety cars to his advantage to go for a strategy that would secure him for a second win of the season. Um, MK7 Hitch, who still maintains his lead in the Drivers' Championship with a total of 108 points. Uh, Still chasing behind him, we have the Ferrari of Mac T, who finished in third last race week on the podium. Remains second in the standings with a total of 93 points. So, as we just spoke about Mac T crossing the line puts in a provisional pole of 128.2. MK7 Hitch going around the final sector, looking to start his lap soon. And speaking of both these drivers, we do have quite a tight battle in the constructors as well. So MK7 Hitch and Relativity, his teammate, have carried a total of 133 points to keep the lead, uh, keep the Red Bulls right in the front. Um, Meanwhile, MacT himself and his teammate Sayo only 10 points behind, 124 points. Sorry, 123 points. Um, with our custom points system, it does allow all the drivers to score points no matter where they cross the line. So, as we like to mention, it matters from beginning to end. And MK7 Hitch actually invalidating on his lap time. You see Mamu, who's about to cross, puts in a 129.2 right there in the second row. Moikuli actually in the first row. But yeah, as I mentioned in tier two, if you want full standings or a view of the full standings from all 20 drivers, um, for both championships, the drivers and the constructors, and you can find them posted on our Instagram. So make sure you give us a follow. That way you could keep updated every week. Maximilian crossing the line at 130.4 puts himself in 6th. But anyways, as I mentioned at the start of the stream, we are here with Division 1 in the Marina Bay circuit for round 4, Singapore. A total of 19 corners, 9 to the left, 10 to the right. And since last year with 4 DRS zones. Therefore, despite all the walls in each angle, still provides plenty of opportunity to overtake, as we saw in Tier 2. Just have to know when and where, especially with this group with no assists, including no ABS, no racing line. It is quite a challenge. It is quite a challenge. We have seen in the past quite a number of drivers take the runoff. So yeah, we'll see who was able to practice the braking points during the break. I think. But as I always like to mention in all our streams, for those watching for the first time, we do have an 18-minute qualifying session as we're spectating currently at the moment. That is to allow the drivers enough time to go around, set their laps, and prepare themselves for the starting grid. And after that, we have a 50% race distance. So for Singapore, that means 31 laps, in case you missed our Tier 2 race and our Tier 1 race as well. But it will be 31 long laps around the circuit. I don't think anybody has mentioned anything regarding the weather, so I'm assuming it's going to be a dry race. It is a dry qualifying session. Keeping an eye here on board with Fate here in Sector 2 does have a Red Bull right in front of him. That might be MK. Actually, no, it looks like that's Relativity. Who I am curious to know if he's currently on his lap time. Looks like he is. So at Fate catching up a little bit there. I don't think. Yeah, it looks like it's not going to be close enough to really do any effect on Fate. However, of course, Relativity's on his hot lap, so it's fair game there. But Fate going around the final corner puts in a 130.2. Fate, who has actually really demonstrated a lot of pace throughout these races, unfortunately has lucked out a little bit. Last race in Belgium, he did experience some technical difficulties, taking Dismal along with him. So here's hoping all the equipment is set up and prepared. And Alex Carugo, who finished in second last race, rocking the new Haas livery. Look at that. I personally really love that livery. And I kind of wish they brought back the white Red Bull. But anyways, looking at who is currently on a hot lap, we do have Mini Tony, who has managed to put himself in 7th with a 130.3. And we do have our top 3 drivers who are currently on their outlap as well. So I did mention this in Tier 2, however, Tier 2 did have a wet qualifying session, but comparing times, Tier 1 on Saturday did have a dry qualifying session, and the fastest lap was placed by No Built, who put in a 127.6. So currently holding the record of the week regarding the fastest lap. MacT currently with a 128.2. And as we mentioned before on the Discord, Singapore does have quite a number of heavy braking zones. So places definitely where you could lock up, especially right here where Sayo's going through. But Sayo keeping it nice and close into the wall, keeping the car away from the wall. We did see a couple of drivers in Tier 2 having some scrapes on the side of the car, enjoying the paint from the boards. But as I mentioned, the Ferrari and the Red Bull team, both of them in the fight for the constructors. Ferrari of MacT and Sayo looking really solid. MK7 Hitch, who appeared to have invalidated on his pass out lap. Sorry, hot lap. Looking to go around again. Mac T improving with the 127.9, holding provisional pole. His teammate finishing up here in sector 3. I think honestly, Sayo is a little bit of a sneak. He is someone to keep an eye on. Improves by 4/10, moves himself up into 5th. And we do have the top 3 who are currently on their hot lap as well. So Moikuli, who appears to have improved by 2/10, almost 3/10 on his time. And looking at Mamu, who is up by 8,500 on his. Sorry, actually no, I stand corrected, 4/10 on his time. So Makuli is going to improve by half a second. Unfortunately, not enough to go into the 127s to challenge Mac T. Mamu finishing up in sector 3. I think Mamu having an incredible season. Was a little bit unlucky in the first race, I think, but has definitely shown the pace and the consistency, I think, oftentimes. But Mamu, who does improve, puts him 128.8. And we do have 2 reserves here today. So that is Autron reserving in the McLaren, as Dismal, as we mentioned earlier, is out sick. And Apex Agent not able to join in as well. And we do also have Pori Pansetto, who is currently in the Williams for today. And so Autron in sector 2. Looks like he's not on his lap. Let's see, MK7 Hichu has yet to put in a time. I do wonder if he's struggling a little bit on this track. Alex, who looks like he's backed out of that, letting his teammate go through. Well, actually, looks like his teammate might have... Well, I was gonna say has wing damage, but nope, he doesn't have wing damage. If anything, he has internet damage. Okay, we'll see if I can send him... See if I can send him an invite. We don't want a ghosted... Sorry, an AI car on the track. Not too many people. There we go. Alrighty, but it looks like we do have the Mercedes of Fate, who is currently on his hot lap. Does seem to have improved on his time by 2/10 there in sector 1, but we'll double check in sector 2, considering the game tends to... Oof! A little bit of a scrape of the wall, but keeping the car intact. And so Fate, trying to use that battery, does improve by a second. And looks like he really likes to keep the car a millicentimeter apart from the wall. My God. But Fate actually improving, puts in a 128.5, puts himself in second row. I did see Autron message me wondering if his connectivity was well. I didn't see any issues, so you should be fine. As I mentioned in Tier 2, I mean, this is an internet-based game, so we understand if you know, we have occasional drops, but yeah, it is a little bit of a scare, I think, for these guys who race with ghosting disabled. But Mini Tony putting in a 129.8, currently holding 7th, so in the top 10. And so we do have MK7 Hitch, who has come out of the pits. So only 2 drivers who have yet to put in a time. That is MK7 Hitch and Alex Cargo, our podium runners from last race. And so I mentioned Tier 1, our fastest lap was a 127.6. Mac T, 2 tenths, almost 3 tenths away from there. But relativity does improve, puts in a 131.1. I do see Fate has chosen to retire in the pits, so looks like he's satisfied with that lap time. But we do have MK7 Hitch, who's about to start his, unless he's going to go around for another banker lap. And right behind him, we also do have Mac T and Moikuli, who are currently on their out lap. But MK7 Hitch looking to start his lap now, using the battery to get that head start. So there in the first part of the track, very easy to invalidate, but MK7 Hitch keeping it within the track limits. Has the flap open, using up a bit of battery. And so these next corners a little bit tricky, going a little bit deep, but not too much. So I think MK7 Hitch, one of those drivers who we look at him and looks like he's on rails sometimes. But I do think, oof, a little bit of a snap right there, a little bit of a correction. But MK7 Hitch doing well to keep the car stable. Has to have a good throttle here, and does. And so MK7 Hitch, I have a feeling he's going to possibly put it in the front row. Don't want to jinx him, of course. We do have a couple of corners left, but MK7 Hitch still with a little bit of battery to use here on the final DRS zone. So using all that battery, has to be careful here. A little bit, goes a little bit deep, but looks like he's still going to be able to put in a solid lap time. So MK7 Hitch going around the final corner puts in a 128.4. So actually puts himself in the second row. We do have Moikuli, who is finishing up on his lap time. And it did say that he was up by 3 tenths. However, you never know with this game. Moikuli here finishing up in his lap. And so Moikuli with a 127.7. And looks like Mac T might have had an incident over there. I can't really see from the angles. But Mac T has had provisional pole taken away from him by Moikuli. I do think we have Mamu, who's going around the final corner as well. And does improve by 2 tenths, however, not enough. A tenth away from MK7 Hitch. Alex Cargo, who is remaining in 6th. And I did see someone who just crossed the line. That is Sayo in 7th. And I do think Mac T might be experiencing a few issues there. So let me see if I can hopefully get him back into the session before it ends. Because after that, he's going to have to try taking control during the race. Alright, so it looks like Mac T needs another invite, so let me see if I could get him in. Oh, looks like the game beat me to it. I just sent him another one, but alright, let me see if I could, actually I think I might have to wait for the, yeah, I'm gonna have to wait for the starting grid. Okay. But anyways, this is going to be our starting grid for round 4 here in Singapore. We have Moikuli starting on pole position, a 127.7. Sharing the front row, we have Mac T from 3rd all the way to the end. We have MK7 Hitch, Mamu, Fate, Alex, Sayo, PO2, Mini Tony, Autron, Maximilian, Pori Panzero, R. Manson, Dragon Pengus, Relativity, the 77s, and Ricky Stanicki. And I'm just going to send Mac T a quick message. All right, so we are back onto the grid. I have to do a little bit of a cleanup with all these names. My goodness. Let's see. It's even worse because I'm on PlayStation. Everybody else is on PC. There we go. Okay. Yeah. So as a reminder to all the drivers, we do get about 3 to 5 minutes to really prepare ourselves before the race. So make sure you don't press that ready up button. Um, Also gives us admins a chance to invite drivers who have disconnected. So, for example, MacT, who has just joined in. So, MacT, who's unfortunately going to have to start uh, with whatever tire they give him. Hopefully, he didn't have a set plan for the race, but yeah, I'm just keeping an eye on the Discord chat. All right. All right. So looks like yeah, I'm just waiting on. I see MacT saying yeah, the game sucks. Yeah, yeah. Completely understandable. All right, perfect. But anyways, yes. So we did see two safety cars occur in tier one and tier two. Like I say, you never know what can happen. Usually, I would suggest a one stop for this race, mediums to hards. Those who like to opt for the reverse strategy, hards to mediums. But of course, you never know what can happen. As we saw in tier two, it came out a little bit later into the race, and unfortunately, a few strategies were were kind of interrupted. But we shall see how this race goes. I'm just taking a look at the Discord chat. Alrighty, so they do have the ready up. I'm gonna remove this in case anybody wants to switch around their strategies for the final seconds. But as a reminder, this group are Nosis divisions. They don't have Park Firm on. Sorry, they don't have Formation Lap on, so they will be going straight into the race. And so Moikuli currently holding pole position. Mac T, who is currently AI and unfortunately has to take control during the start of the race. So can Moikuli use this to his advantage and try extending that gap? And so lights are off and off they go. Gonna try getting all this information up. Looks like we do have a couple position changes happening in the bag. So PO2 actually getting the move done, 2 position gains. And getting the move done on Sayo and Alex Carugo. Alex Carugo trying to defend that position. And so the top 5 remaining the same. We do have Sayo and Alex Carugo still battling it out a little bit there, but looks like Sayo's going to have the upper hand and get the position there. Although Alex trying to look for the move on the inside, and very close wheel to wheel right there. Jeez. And so Maximilian trying to go on the inside, a little bit of a wiggle there on the exit, but doing well to keep the car stable. Maximilian, who has gained 2 positions there, looking to get the move done on Alex Carugo, but looks like he's going to slot right behind, choose to wait it out. We do have 31 laps in total of racing, so plenty of things can happen, plenty of racing left. It looks like MacT has done Moikuli has done an amazing job to remain ahead. And so the top 5 currently on medium tires. We do have 3 drivers on the hard tires. That is PO2, Alex, and Pori Panzetto. So all the drivers remaining close behind. I think they heeded my warning regarding being sensible for this race. We didn't want to see a pile up like Belgium. But we do have a bit of action happening in the back as well. Ricky Stenicki getting the move done on Autron. DRS is enabled now. And looks like we have a few gaps opening up. So Fate's having extended over a second ahead of PO2. Moikuli still remaining ahead of MacT. And so as we mentioned, this is no assist racing, so lots of these drivers are very talented, knowing every inch of the car, knowing every inch of the track. And looks like we do have a safety car. That is the 7.7s there on the wall. And I don't know if there was any contact between another driver. I don't see any damage from anybody else, although Autron is missing his right end plate. But of course, you never know. As I mentioned, this is no assist, and that includes no ABS, so drivers can easily go into the wall if they miss their braking points. And so, very unfortunate for the 7.7s, who has been a little bit unlucky in these past races, but still shows to be quite a. Actually, I'm just looking at the Discord chat. He's saying, I got my karma. Yeah, no, very. You know, we still appreciate the determination to race and try improving every week. You know, it's not easy. No, this is definitely not easy. I can never talk smack because I race with only 2 assists, which is the corner line and the ABS, but I also race on controller, so I don't have time to be learning everything. But anyways, we do have a couple drivers who are opting to pit, so that is Maximilian, Dragon Pengus, and Autron. Autron, who is missing his right end plate, so honestly, a wise move there. But we do have the front of the pack who have chosen to stay out. And looking at the position changes, so PO2, who has gained 2 positions there, Relativity up 5, Ricky Stenicki up 6. Again, those in the back have chosen to pit. But I will say it has been a really interesting, really good first couple of laps, I will say. And so we are waiting for the rest of the group to catch up. And so most likely we'll be having about 2 more laps under the safety car. And so I did want to mention, I know we've talked a little bit about the top of the constructor standings, but the midfield is looking quite interesting as well. So Aston Martin, both Mamu and Maximilian have 67 points. Only 5 points behind are the Williams of PO2, who has honestly, Pori Panzetto, of course, as we mentioned earlier, reserving. But PO2 doing a really great job to carry the team on his back. Hopefully I could give him a more reliable teammate. But here's hoping Pori Panzetto is interested in going full time for the Williams. Hopefully score some points for them. And then in 4th and 5th, we do have the McLarens. Unfortunately, both of them not here today. 83 points. Alpine only 2 points behind. That is Moikuli and Mini Tony. So not trying to put pressure on them, but as we like to mention, points are points from beginning to the end, and from the top of the grid all the way to the bottom. So yeah, they just have to make sure they cross that line. But we are waiting for Autron to catch up to the grid. And now my friends seeing me online and asking me if I wanted to play Fortnite. Jeez. Now I'm getting spammed. Alrighty, but anyways, yes, looking back into the race, we are still under the safety car. Moikuli currently leading, and looks like we do have the safety car coming in this lap. So Moikuli going to give the safety car enough time to enter the pits. And when will he set off? He does have MacT, who is definitely someone to keep an eye on. MK7 Hitch, who has definitely proven himself this season, and last season as well. Our championship from last season, looking to defend his championship again, and doing a phenomenal job doing it in style. But let's see, Moikuli has yet to go, and looks like he is off. So a really comfortable safety car restart there for Moikuli. MK7 Hitch appears to be closing in quite a bit on the back of the Ferrari of MacT. And so again, no DRS is going to be enabled until the next lap. And looks like Mamu has broken out a little bit of a gap ahead of Fate. Now over a second ahead of 5th. And it does seem like we have a couple position changes happening in the back as well. Maximilian getting the move done on Pori Panzero. And Pori Panzero trying to defend the inside against Dragon Pengus. Dragon Pengus staying right behind, looking to go on the inside. Possible switchback. And Dragon Pengus with a really good throttle right there. Actually going quite close to the wall, but I'm almost giving me a heart attack. But Dragon Pengus getting the move done on Pori Panzero. And struggling a little bit there. I think trying to get some heat on those tires. A great job for Maximilian using those new tires to his advantage, trying to get the moves done. He does have the drivers ahead of him on the 4-lap-old mediums. And so DRS is enabled now. We do have Moikuli up in the front. Does have MacT less than a second behind of him. And it does look like Fate has managed to catch up to Mamu as well. So a little bit of a DRS train between these 5 drivers. Although it does look like Fate may have just gotten pushed out from the DRS of Mamu. So looks like Fate is going to be have a little bit of work to cut out if Mamu's gonna keep using the DRS to pull him ahead. And looks like our Manson as well retiring from the session. I do wonder what happened there. Actually, quite a weird place to either lose the car or hit the wall. I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but both V-Carbs unfortunately losing out there, and so no points for that team. Maximilian still looking to make some money moves and has gotten the move done on Ricky Stanicki. So we do have a bit of a mini DRS train here behind Mini Tony. So Sayo still hanging on right on the back of the Alpine. Relativity hanging on the back of the Ferrari. It does look like Sayo has just gotten pushed out of the DRS, so it is going to leave him a little bit vulnerable to the Red Bull right behind. So these 3 with the medium tires, PO2 and Alex Carugo, the only drivers in the top 10 holding the 6-lap-old hard compounds. And looks like we don't have any gaps closing in enough to be seeing any movement happening yet. Though we do have MacT tailing right behind of Moikuli, who both of them pretty much on equal battery. So can MACT have a good exit here to use the DRS to his advantage and try getting the overtake done? Looks like Moikuli trying to use a little bit of battery as well. MACT not able to make a move yet. Although it does look like with the 2-0, it looks like Poripan Zero has had a little bit of an incident there under the bridge, and so that is going to be another safety car. And so very unfortunate for quite a number of drivers who have really lucked out on this race. Or not been lucky on this race. Maximilian picking up a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. And so it looks like we do have a couple of drivers opting to pit now. Looks like that has worked out, not pitting in the first safety car. But we do have MK7 Hitch who has chosen to stay out. As well as PO2 who did start on the hard compounds. Ooh, and Dragon Pengus trying to go on the outside, trying to beat Moikuli there, who was coming out of the pit lane, and of contact there between the two drivers. But luckily, Moikuli not losing out there. I don't think he picked up any damage from that. If I could get a little bit of a view. There we go. Alright, so Moikuli, yeah, still has his end plates intact, and looks like wasn't affected by that, but yeah, most likely going to be looking to get that overtake done on Dragon Pengus once it starts. But we do have our second safety car of the race, third one of the night, including Tier 2. Alrighty, so once again, we're going to be looking for all the drivers to join back up to the grid. And I don't think these drivers want to go to bed because, my God, it's 31 laps in itself on this track, plus the safety cars. That's an extra quite a couple minutes left for the race. My God. And so just a reminder to the drivers regarding safety car etiquette. Make sure you're staying behind of the drivers in front of you, no side by side. We do want to avoid any inaccurate illegal overtakes given by the game, so make sure you stay behind of the driver in front of you. And yeah, just maintain your rhythm. But it does look like Maximilian has opted to switch over to the soft tires. I'm not sure if he knows if he can, or if that he can't serve the drive-through under the safety car. He does have to wait for the safety car to go in to serve it, so I do hope he knows that, because I'm very well aware that some drivers don't, and then they message me, well, the game is wrong, and I'm like, no. But yeah, Maximilian unfortunately hit with the drive-through. Of course, head down because you never know if another safety car is going to come out. So I wouldn't be so discouraged yet. It is only lap 9 out of 31. Alrighty, so as we wait for Maximilian to catch up, I do believe this is going to be our final lap under the safety car. And actually, looks like Alex Cargo has opted to pit. And had switched over to the mediums, now opting to switch over to the hard tires. Considering he was in the back of the grid, I don't think that was a bad choice. So he's definitely going to have fresher tires, even if it's just 2 lap younger tires compared to those ahead of him. Uh, and it's definitely enough to really pick up the pace afterwards and try going for those overtakes. Alrighty, so we're just waiting for Alex Cargo in the Haas to catch up to the rest of the group now. And so safety car is in this lap as I predicted. And so we do have MK7 Hitch, our new race leader, currently holding up in the front with 9 lap-old mediums. What can he do to defend against those with the much fresher tires? He does have PO2 right behind with 9 lap-old hards, Dragon Pegasus 7 lap-old hards, Atron with 7 lap-old hards as well. So those 4 in the top 5 with the oldest tires of the race. And so Moikuli is definitely going to have some work to cut out for him in regards of trying to get those overtakes done. But it does look like MK7 Hitch is off and has managed to keep ahead. We do have Moikuli trying to go for the move on the inside of Dragon Pangus, and looks like he's gonna get the move done. And so Moikuli moving himself up to third. And we do have Atron, as I mentioned, with the 8 lap-old hard tires, trying to defend, but can't do much against those with the much fresher tires. Both MacT and Fate getting the overtake done on him. He does now have Mini Tony, although Mini Tony under pressure by Sayo. So Sayo going on the inside, and Mini Tony with the switchback. So Mini Tony saying, give that position back, remaining ahead of Sayo now. We do have Mamu up in the front, who has managed to get the overtake done on Dragon Pangus. Dragon Pangus now losing 2 positions there, also from MacT. So yeah, it looks like it's a little bit of a struggle for him trying to defend with those much older tires. Although it's only 8 laps, I don't think it's that much to really affect him, but might be also the pressure of having other drivers right behind. But Fate doesn't have the DRS here, but does have the battery, trying to go for a move on the inside, sorry, the outside. Dragon Peng is trying to defend the inside and does well to keep the position. So next lap, we do have DRS enabled. MK7 Hitch has done an amazing job to extend the gap, now over 2.5 seconds ahead of PO2. And so Moikuli trying to get the move done on PO2. He is going to have the DRS on this next upcoming corner. Using a little bit of battery to remain right behind. And PO2 picking up a 3-second penalty there for multiple warnings. Moikuli with the battery does have the DRS as well. And looks like he's going to get the overtake done nice and easily. So moving himself up to second. So very close racing for these drivers. MK7 Hitch really using, has to be a master tire whisperer, able to, to keep it with those 11-lap-old mediums. Mac T closing in right on the back of Mamu, although Mamu is going to have the DRS off of PO2. But looks like PO2 maintaining ahead. Mac T does have the DRS, but unfortunately not close enough to do anything yet. Although Mac T trying to use that battery, he's going to try going for the move on the inside. Bait, who was trying to avoid and who was actually being great in trying to keep it cautious with PO2, went a little bit wide, and so Mac T going right through. Actually, I think that was Mamu who went a little bit wide. Looks like we have a couple of movements happening in the back as well. Alex Carugo getting the overtake done on the Ferrari of Sayo. And Mini Tony having a bit of a battle with Dragon Pengus as well. Dragon Pengus, a little bit of contact between those two, but it looks like Mini Tony's going to have the advantage there. And up ahead, Mac T, who, as we saw with the much fresher tires, getting the overtake done on PO2 under the DRS. And I do want to mention, I do see quite a bit of rain, and so we do have Maximilian who has opted to go for the pits for the intermediates. I do wonder if that is a bit of a gamble. Of course, you don't know with Singapore. Singapore is quite tricky in terms of the weather, so even if it's raining, sometimes it might not be the right call to go for the intermediates. But we shall see, because honestly, it will make the race quite interesting if it does start pouring. But we do have Mamu trying to challenge PO2. And that might also explain why MK7 Hitch opted to stay out on the mediums. McCooley, who had gotten the overtake done on MK7 Hitch. And so looks like the track is getting quite wet. You do see a couple of drops on the track. And so a grand majority of the drivers now opting to pit. So Mac T currently switching over to the intermediates. We do have a couple of drivers also. Dragon Pengus now picking up a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And so Singapore always bringing drama, always bringing great racing. I think from what we have seen in the past, honestly, it's the track that's never disappointed. And looks like it is raining enough for them to decide like DRS is disabled. So looks like it might have been a really great call for MK7 Hitch. As I mentioned, none of the drivers are my weathermen, so I had no idea what to expect in terms of the weather, but MK7 Hitch still doing a great job, really showing his wise choices and performances regarding the strategy calls, as we saw last race in Belgium. Although according to him, that was all luck, but has definitely been a driver to watch. And MK7, a little bit of Tokyo Drift, I guess. MK7 is struggling a little bit with those mediums. And that has allowed Moikuli to extend a gap of over 6 seconds ahead of MK7 Hitch. Yeah, looks like all the top 7 drivers struggling a little bit there. MK7 Hitch picking up a 3-second penalty. I think I might have just jinxed him. Jeez. Yeah, as I mentioned, Singapore is quite a gamble in terms of the weather, so you never know what you're going to get. I have experience as well where it's raining and it's you stick with the either hard tires or the mediums and you're fine, but that is just EA being EA. But looks like all the drivers are switching over to the intermediates. So Mac T, who had pit early, jumping the gun ahead of Moikuli. So now over over 2 seconds ahead of Moikuli. Relativity now picking up a 3-second penalty. We do have Atron, who has come out ahead of MK7 Hitch. And Relativity now picking up a 10-second penalty for exceeding track limits. And so we do have quite a number of drivers who have picked up penalties. That is PO2, MK7 Hitch with 3 seconds, Dragon Pengus with 10 seconds. It does have his teammate right behind him. I do wonder if they're going to play the team game. Kind of just let Alex through. Relativity with 13 seconds of penalties. And so Alex just cruising right behind his teammate, trying to look for an opportunity to get the overtake done. Looks like these two are our closest. We do have MK7 Hitch still behind of Autron. Ooh, and Dragon Peng is going a tad bit wide right there. I do wonder if that was on purpose to let Alex through. But Alex now jumping into 8th. And so as we mentioned, DRS is disabled, so the rest of these overtakes are going to be done just by pure skill. MK7 Hitch trying to get the move done on Autron and going a tad bit wide right there. Autron remaining on the outside. Looks like he's going to let MK7 Hitch through, although both of them going off the track a bit there. Mamu now joining in on the battle. And so PO2, who currently has 3 seconds of penalties, does have quite a comfortable gap ahead of MK7 Hitch, over 6 seconds. So, ooh, looks like we do have, looks like Relativity choosing to retire in the pit lane. I think due to the penalties there. But we do have a nice little battle between Mamu and Autron. Autron trying to still defend that position. A little bit of contact right there, but looks like no harm, no foul. Mamu is going to keep that position. Although Autron now has Fate right behind him. And Autron going a tad bit wide right there, and so through goes the Mercedes of Fate. So Fate moving himself up to 6th. I did want to take a quick look at the position changes. So PO2 and Dragon Pengus and Ricky Stanicki up 5 positions. We do have Autron who's up 3. So we do have a couple of drivers who lucked out a little bit. Sayo with who has lost 3 positions. Mini Tony down 2. But honestly, that lots of these drivers keeping it consistent, keeping the car on the track and, and away from the walls. And actually, looks like Relativity was having a bit of equipment issues. So saying the gear shifter had stopped working. So yeah, very unfortunate for Relativity, who was actually having having a good race. Still keeping the battles there. But it does look like our closest battle at the moment seems to be between the Haas of Alex Cargo and the McLaren of Autron. And I am keeping an eye on the delta up ahead between MACT and Moikuli. Moikuli trying to close it and get near the Ferrari. And so it looks like with the rain, the gaps have opened up quite a bit. Race has calmed down a little bit. But up ahead, it appears that Moikuli has closed the gap behind of MACT, less than a second. So Moikuli still trying to go for the moves. So Moikuli, who has demonstrated lots of great pace, started on pole position. I believe he finished on the podium in Tier 1. I could be wrong. I'll take a quick look at that, actually. Actually, yeah, Moikuli, who finished in 3rd in Tier 1 here in Singapore. And looks like Alex Cargo has managed to get the overtake done on Autron. Autron, a little bit of a wiggle right there on the exit, but still keeping the car straight. Again, these are very tricky conditions, so the drivers have to be super cautious on that throttle. And Alex going a tad bit wide right there, and unfortunately picking up a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Although it does seem like Atron is struggling quite a bit. I know he had wing damage at the first start of the race, but it looks like he did fix it, so it might just be a bit of a struggle with the tire conditions, the track conditions. And because of that mistake, looks like Atron has been pushed out over a second and a half behind of Alex Cargo. We do have Moikuli still remaining behind of the Ferrari of Mac T. Fate, who is right behind of Mamu as well, so we'll be keeping an eye on these two. And so we are halfway through the race. We do have a few gaps closing, although it looks like Fate has dropped back a little bit from Mamu. But I did want to do a little bit of math. I'm not great at math. Mini Tony knows that. J-Dog knows that. So I'll take out my calculator. If it stays like this, as we mentioned earlier, MK7 Hitch is currently in the lead with a total of 108 points. Mac T in second of the standings, 93 points. 93 points plus the points for the win here. Let's take a quick look at that. So if MacT does win this, he will be having a total of 130 points. MK7 Hitch, he is currently in fourth. I want to take a quick look at I have to remember our point system. My God, 24 points for P4. All right, so MacT would be 130 points. We do have MK7 Hitch, who, as I mentioned earlier, has a total of 108 points. So 108 plus 24. So so if it stays like this, MacT would be 2 points behind of MK7 Hitch if that were the case. So it would definitely spice up the championship a little bit. Of course, this is only round 4. We do have a total of 12 rounds for the season, so anything could happen. But points are points, and anything will count towards the end, as we've seen in quite a few instances in the past, where even 1 point makes a difference. But anyways, looking still at Moikuli, who is still tailing right behind of Mac T. And we do have Sayo, the other Ferrari, who has managed to close in behind of Dragon Pengus. I do see yellow flags. That appears to be the Aston Martin of Maximilian. And I do see Escargo asking for any weather update. I do not know, considering our driver's on track, and I don't have access to that. And the drivers, nobody told me how the weather was going to be. So, oof, and jeez. Maximilian going a little bit too deep there on the wall, into the wall. Losing his left end plate there, but yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to be dying down. We do have 11 laps remaining. From what nobody really mentioned anything on the Division 1 chat, so I'm going to assume it's going to remain like this throughout the whole rest of the race. But looking back at the Delta, so MK7 Hitch, who has now closed in right behind of PO2, it looks like we do have another safety car. That might actually be Maximilian, who might have had a little bit of an incident entering the pit lane from what I saw. Yeah, from what you can see, from what we saw on the the track map, that might have been Maximilian struggling, especially with that missing left end plate, not able to turn in. I do think he probably just went into the wall by accident there. But that has brought out a safety car, and looks like that is going to bring the group back together. And so it is going to be quite unfortunate for some of the drivers who are currently holding penalties. So 10 laps remaining. We do have 4 drivers holding penalties. That is PO2, MK7 Hitch, Alex Kurgo with 3 seconds, Dragon Pengus with 10. So this is going to bring all the drivers up together. Dragon Pengus now picking up a 3-second penalty, so that's 13 seconds in total. And so 3 safety cars here for Division 1. As we mentioned, these are tricky weather conditions, and this is also no assist, so for quite a number of drivers, it is quite difficult, both of them together. But honestly, it has been a really good race. The beginning definitely interesting under the dry conditions. And personally, I do love safety cars. It does bring the pack back up, brings the racing back in. And it does seem like a grand majority of them have chosen to stay out. So most likely taking those intermediates all the way to the end. I don't think they will have very high percentage, if I'm not mistaken. Speaking from personal experience. And it actually does look like we have one driver entering the pits. That is Alex Caro Goat. So Alex Cargo switching over to the fresh set of intermediates, now coming out behind of Mini Tony. Actually, looks like he's going to be coming out behind of Autron. Ricky Stanicky still going around the final corner, so Alex Cargo dropping to 11th now. Though he is going to have fresh intermediates for these final laps, so we will be seeing if he's able to use that to his advantage and try going for those overtakes. And yeah, I do see Relativity. As I mentioned before, he had a little bit of equipment issues. His gear shifter stopped working. Says he panicked and tried to restart the wheel, but unfortunately the car went and hit the wall. That is, it's very gutting. It is very gutting when you know you work hard for the races and then for situations out of your own control, it all goes downhill. But Relativity, we always enjoy seeing him on the track. He's a lovely driver. Uh, So hopefully we do see him again next week in Australia. Well, let's see. With all this happening, with 9 laps remaining, I'm taking a quick look at the position changes. So PO2 doing a great job climbing 5 positions. Dragon Penkas up 7. Ricky Stanicki up 5. Uh, and we've had a couple positions changes happening downwards as well, so a few losing out a little bit. Alrighty, but we are waiting for two more drivers. That is Alex and Ricky Stenicki to catch up to the rest of the group. Most likely, the safety car is going to be coming in this lap. And so for each for each safety car, we've had a different race leader. So we started off with Mike Cooley, who, as we mentioned before, started on pole position, was an early safety car, and therefore he was leading the first safety car restart. The second one, we had MK7 Hitch, who had chosen to stay out on the mediums, most likely expecting the rain to be coming in soon. Um, I was questioning his strategy, but of course I didn't know the weather conditions, and so worked out well for him, I think. And now we have Mac T in the Ferrari for the third safety car restart. We do have the safety car coming in this lap as predicted. So Mac T gonna allow the safety car to go in, giving it enough space and time. And so all the drivers just mounting right on each other. It's a big reminder to make sure to give each other the space. All of them waiting for Mac T to set off. A bunch of animals just waiting to go for the attack. My God. But anyways, Mac T has set off. We do have, looks like we don't have any movements happening or any gaps really closing in. All the drivers remaining close to each other. So a really smooth start there for the grid. And so, as I mentioned, we do have quite a number of drivers with penalties. And so if it stays close like this for until the end of the race, then we could possibly be seeing quite a number of position changes happening towards the end. But we do see the drivers trying to use that battery. MK7 Hitch trying to go get closer to PO2. Atron, who I'm not exactly sure what happened there. They're in turn 1, 2, 3, 4, it seems. And so that's I'm pretty sure lots of these drivers are thinking, what the heck? Atron, unfortunately, into the wall. And now bringing out the fourth safety car. Oh, it looks like that may have actually been a bit of a... I do see Alex Carugo apologizing on the Discord. That might have been a little incident between the two drivers, and yeah, we'll see. We'll take a look afterwards. I do want to give a nice little appreciation to those who acknowledge any mistakes and apologize for it afterwards. You know, we do respect that. And of course, racing is racing. Accidents happen. You know, we're not professionals, and if you do expect perfection, then I recommend an F1 esports salary. Um, yeah. And oh no, Fate picking up a 10-second penalty for exceeding track limits. And so that is going to be gutting because Fate was honestly has honestly been having a really good race. Ooh, looks like Ricky Stanicki has left the session. Altron saying it's okay. It's been one heck of a race. I do agree. Let's see if I can get Ricky Stanicki. I know too many dang people. Uh, looks like I'm not seeing him online. I'm not exactly sure why. Let's see. Oh, actually, looks like Ricky Stenicki saying he lost power, and looks like we do have quite a number of things happening all at once. My God, what the hell? Looks like the track has dried up. Oh man, let me see if I can hopefully get Ricky Stenicki back into the session. It's, there's so many things happening. My goodness. Ricky Stenicki, Ricky Stenicki. There we go. Okay. So Ricky Stenicki back. Hopefully can join back for the final couple of laps. It does look like the track has dried up. And so we do have quite a number of drivers who have opted for the dry tires. I do see Fate asking a question. All right, looks like Fate asking if he could appeal his penalties. So of course you can appeal. For those who aren't aware, we do have an appeal system. So just make sure you record your race director. That way our drivers, our appeal stewards can look through it and determine if it is appealable and removable. But it looks like we have the grand. Looks like the all the drivers have joined in to switch over to the dry tires, and Fate saying never mind about appealing it, considering he had to serve the 10-second penalty anyway. So that is actually very gutting. That's actually very sad. Um, Oof, and looks like we have a couple of drivers who are. I will say Singapore, the exit on this track, the pit lane exit, is quite tricky because you can easily go wide and you could pick up those 10-second penalties as we saw from Mini Tony and Moikuli. Um, Moikuli with 20 seconds in total. Of course, you never know if he can appeal it. As I mentioned, we do have our appeal process, so just make sure you record your race director. Make sure you record your race, your lap. That way, our appeal stewards can look it over. Um, and so we have quite an unexpected end towards this, it looks like. Jeez. We have Mini Tony picking up a 10-second penalty. Very unfortunate for him. Dragon Pengus, who is currently coming out of the pit lane. Fate now picking up a 3-second penalty. And so it looks like all the chaos comes out when it's a dry race, I guess. Honestly. Honestly. Ay, ay. But honestly, Mac T in a comfortable position does have Moikuli, as we mentioned, with the 20 seconds. MK7 Hitch with 3 seconds. Ricky Stenicki might be having a few problems in regarding his power at home. I did see he just left the session again, so let me see if I could send him another invite. So hopefully he can join back into the session. Ay. Yeah, as I mentioned, it's like these guys, they don't want to go to sleep. With all these safety cars, my God. Like I mentioned, it's 31 laps already with it here in Singapore. It's it's exhausting. Alrighty, so it is Ricky Stenicki's AI, so he does have to take control of it. Um, Regarding the strategy call, so Mac T and Sayo have opted for the hard tires. Everybody else on the soft tires. I do wonder how Mac T is going to be able to defend, although we have seen him pull miracles, and honestly, he's a phenomenal driver with great pace. Looks like Ricky Stanicki having a bit of problems. Yeah, still having some problems with his power. And so we're currently just waiting for Dragon Pangas to return or to group up with the rest of the grid. And actually, it looks like the safety car said, "Forget about you. We are going to continue on no matter what." So the safety car is coming in this lap. Mac T currently leading. We do have Ricky Stanicki, who I'm not exactly sure if he's under AI or, and if he is, then the AI is doing a phenomenal job to keep those tires warm. Uh, Anyways, we do have Mac T with the hard tires. Does have Moikuli and MK7 Hitch behind with the softs. What can Mac T do here? Looks like he's ready to set off, and so again, Moikuli with the 20 seconds, now picking up another 3 seconds. So that is 23 seconds in total. So closing in on the back of Mac T, although Mac T still remaining ahead, keeping the momentum there. It looks like we do have PO2 looking to challenge Ricky Stanicki, trying to go on the outside. Is he going to make the move stick? Looks like Ricky Stanicki is going to back out of that. And so Mamu looking to get the move done as well. And we do have Alex Carago trying to look for a move on the inside, although Sayo defending quite well there. And unfortunately, no move for Alex Carago. Fate, I think, was trying to look for the outside move, but Alex might have cut him off a little bit there. But no harm, no foul. All the drivers remaining close together. And so we do have 4 laps remaining, including this one. We will be having DRS enabled in the next upcoming lap. And so again, as we mentioned, we don't know if Moikuli can appeal those 20 seconds, so we'll just have to find out towards the end of, towards after the race. But looks like Moikuli trying to close in on the back of Mac T. As I mentioned before, we are going to be having DRS enabled on the next upcoming lap here. Moikuli, I think, toying a little bit with those track limits. Jeez. And so now 3 laps remaining, and looking behind, we do have quite a few gaps closing in as well. Moikuli is going to have the DRS off of Mac T. Looks like he's not going to be close enough to do anything yet. MK7 Hitch still cruising right behind, keeping an eye on these two. And oh, Moikuli losing the car there on the exit, and unfortunately that's going to drop him down a position. MK7 Hitch now moving up to second. We do have a couple of gaps closing as well. Fate tailing right behind of Ricky Stanicki, getting super close to the rear of the Kick Sauber. And so Fate does have Sayo right behind of him. And is Sayo going to look to make a move, try and go on the inside? A little bit of contact between the Ferrari and the Mercedes. But Fate is going to keep the position, and Fate doesn't lose a lot of time behind the Kick Sauber there. We do have Mac T, who has picked up the fastest lap on 132 point. Actually, no, Alex Carago of 132.2. And as we mentioned in Tier 2, if you're in the top 10, you do get those extra points for the fastest lap. Definitely keeps the championship quite close. Ricky Stanicki still having issues with with his home internet. We do have Mamu, who's looking for that move on the inside. PO2 defending. And so we have 2 laps remaining, including this one. All the caps are super close to each other. Moikuli's struggling quite a bit, and I think I think McT might have actually had done the wisest choice in opting for the hard tires. So it looks like those softs are dying out quite quick, and so it has helped them to extend that gap ahead of them, ahead of MK7 Hitch, over 2 seconds there. We are currently on the penultimate lap, and so looks like Mamu might be actually looking for a possible podium position. Does have the drivers in front of him with those penalties. Looks like Ricky Stanicki getting overtaken. His AI actually getting overtaken by Sayo. I would, I wouldn't challenge the AI so much considering how unpredictable it tends to be, but. But we are currently on the final lap, and so MK7 Hitch does have Moikuli right behind him, although Moikuli does have those 23 seconds of penalties. Mac T doing a phenomenal job to use those hard tires to his advantage against the softs and extend the gap almost 3 seconds ahead of MK7 Hitch. But we also have Mamu, who we'll be keeping an eye on, considering he's possibly looking for a podium finish. Looks like PO2 letting him through. Not sure if there was a little bit of contact, or maybe it does seem like PO2 figured, considering he has those 3 seconds of penalties, not much to really fight it out. But Mini Tony now picking up a 3-second penalty, so that's 13 seconds in total. Although it looks like he might be looking to finish in the top 10. But looking up ahead, Moikuli is going to have the DRS off of MK7 Hitch. MacT now extending it to over 4 seconds. Doesn't look like Moikuli is going to be close enough to make any move there. But we have MacT going around the final corner, using up the rest of the battery, and also picking up the fastest lap of 132.0. And Moikuli right behind of MK7 Hitch, although it looks like Mamu is going to take that podium finish for him. So Moikuli is actually going to be dropping down quite a number of positions, all the way from 3rd to 9th. And Mini Tony, even with the 10-second penalty, doesn't affect him. Still finishes in the top 10. Looks like PO2 saying he'll never race in Singapore again. Oh my god. But what a race, my god. My god. Five safety cars, my goodness. 31 laps, 5 safety cars. And I know it wasn't out of anything ridiculous, just simple mistakes from drivers, and unfortunately, yeah, it brought out safety cars. But yeah, really good racing. And anyways, that is going to be our final grid. So we have MacT for the win, also picking up the extra points for the fastest lap of 132.0. Sharing the podium, we have MK7 Hitch, who with this finish is going to remain ahead and remain ahead of the championship. And we have Mamu, who honestly I don't think we've really seen him a lot on the podium. This might be the second time. I could be wrong. I'll have to double check with him. But honestly, big congratulations to him. Has done a phenomenal job this season, and always happy to see him on the podium. And honestly, just up there in the top group. But from 5th all the way to the end, we have Sayo, Alex, Ricky Stanicki, Fate, Moikuli, Mini Tony, Dragon Pangus, and the rest. Unfortunately, our DNFs, so our 6 DNFs of the race. Very unlucky for some of for some of those drivers, but I think it was honestly overall a really good race. Lots of penalties towards the end. I think the chaos really happened for the dry race, on the dry side of the race. Uh, but yeah, honestly, we love races like this where the weather is unpredictable and it changes, But we had dry, wet, dry. Really great race from all these drivers. Big congratulations to them. And yeah, we'll be catching them next week. We do have our race in Australia, as I mentioned. We will be having our Gnosis Division 2 group on Wednesday night, so make sure you stay tuned. That will be on Wednesday at the same time as this one. That is 9 p.m. Eastern. Not exactly sure where that is, what that is for other drivers if you're in the international side of the world. But anyways, yeah, we do appreciate all our viewers. Make sure you like and subscribe. We'll catch you guys in the next race. And yeah, have a good night, good evening, good morning, wherever you guys are watching from.